Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's KGibbsGP here once again with a brand new video for you today, and today we are previewing the upcoming Belgian Grand Prix round 13 of the FIA Formula 1 World Championship in 2016. And what a season it's been so far. This will be the first race of the second part of the season, the back nine as I've been calling it, that will take us all the way to Abu Dhabi at the end of November, and the period of time which will decide the world champion. Lewis Hamilton comes into this race with a sizable lead over his teammate Nico Rosberg in the title race, 19 points in fact, the biggest it's been all season, and in fact the first time Lewis Hamilton's really had a lead this season. He took over that lead in Hungary with victory there, and it's the 4 wins in July which see him coming into Belgium banging form as such, and probably in the form of his life you could argue. Now the Spa Francorchamps circuit is certainly one that sorts the men out from the boys. It's 7 kilometres in length with elevation changes that make even Brands Hatch look like an airfield. Well, maybe not quite, but it is certainly a real challenge for the drivers. Of course, with the famous Eau Rouge as well, Eau Rouge and Radion, and that section which is world famous and highly regarded as one of the best corners on the planet. It is really one for the flair drivers, and they always tend to do well. Perhaps why Kimi Raikkonen has 4 wins at Spa, all dating from 2005, 2006, 2007 and 2009. 20% in fact of his career total. He only has 20 wins altogether, and 4 of them have come in Belgium. He very nearly had a 5th win in Belgium, nearly in 2008. Would have actually been 5 in a row in that case as well, had he not put it into the concrete wall when leading with a lap to go, but that was due to a rain shower. Spa's weather can be decidedly fickle, and in 2008 2 rain showers bookended the events there, and the events that saw Lewis Hamilton eventually stripped of victory after the stewards deemed him to have illegally passed Kimi Raikkonen, having cut the corner at the bus stop before passing him at La Source. That's a debate that rumbles on to this day as to whether he deserved the penalty on that one, and I'm sure you'll hear the story repeated many times over the weekend in the various broadcasts. The circuit is largely power sensitive. Obviously you've got the big run from La Source to Le Com, and it's actually 23 seconds worth of full throttle from, like I said, turn 1 all the way up to turn 4, of course assuming Eau Rouge is flat out and full throttle, which it probably will be in qualifying, if not so much in the race. Mercedes therefore should do quite well. Any power sensitive track they have an advantage at, of course. Ferrari aren't too far behind in terms of engine power right now. Rumours actually in regards to Ferrari potentially bringing an engine update for Monza are certainly circulating at the moment. This probably would help if they brought it for Spa as well, but ultimately Monza's the real power track. And Spa's certainly not quite as power sensitive as Monza is. Red Bull, although they've had their power unit deficiencies recently, obviously in 2014 Daniel Ricciardo took his 2nd win on the bounce and his 3rd career win at Spa. And ultimately Red Bull have a tendency to take a lot of wing out of the car, removing a lot of the downforce, but therefore reducing the drag, and that's somewhat compensated for the power unit deficiencies they've suffered. Certainly I'd expect them to do that again, and because the car's got so much mechanical grip, particularly in the low speed, well, it's demonstrated in the low speed I should say, it means they can take that wing out and it doesn't affect the car as great as it would do their competitors and stuff. So if they can replicate the form they had in 2014 at this track, essentially picking up on any Mercedes mistakes or little blunders on their behalf, like in 2014, then ultimately Ricciardo or Verstappen might be able to pick up the pieces. Ferrari will obviously hope to turn their fortunes around as well. Having lost 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship, they want to snap back as quickly as possible and wrestle that place away from Red Bull again. But with Verstappen and Ricciardo both on the back of having their podiums in Germany, they'll obviously come in here with great form as well, and ultimately I'll expect Red Bull, despite this being a power track, to do pretty well indeed. One thing about the run up to Le Com that's also quite interesting is certainly on the first lap, seeing a lead change on the way into turn 4 is highly likely. We saw Sebastian Vettel in 2013 timed his run to perfection, ceded the lead to Lewis Hamilton going through turn 1, but soon snapped back at him and actually retook the position on the way through Le Com, on that occasion using a lot of curves on the way up there. We also saw Sergio Perez this time last year actually take the lead briefly as they head through the Sector 1 split last year in his Force India, and that was from 4th on the grid. So what it does demonstrate is that qualifying isn't the be all and end all here. if you qualify on the second row or even the third row, you can potentially have at least a shot at the leader on the way up the hill. And ultimately, it also means that when you go through turn 1 first, you've still got to be on your toes and be ready for an attack as the chasing pack tries to close you down and ultimately pass you as they head into turn 4. So as for my predictions for the weekend, Spa's always a difficult one because of that fickle weather as I previously mentioned, and because of the way the pecking order is at the moment. Obviously Red Bull and Ferrari are quite closely matched in that battle for second place behind Mercedes, and ultimately that affects who will pick up the pieces should Mercedes falter. However, I am going to go with Mercedes 1-2. It's what you'd expect in normal scenarios, but I would go with Lewis Hamilton to win again. Like I said, this is a flair track. He is a flair driver and has that natural ability which so often prevails at Spa. I'm going to go with Nico Rosberg in second, and given his past form at the track, given that 20% of his total amount of race wins have been at Spa, I'm going to go with Kimi Raikkonen, the Iceman, in P3 on the podium. So with regards to those predictions, please leave your comment section, I should say, in the comment section below as to what you think is going to be the pecking order this weekend and your top 3 for the race, whether I'm barking up the wrong tree or whether you think I've got it spot on for this weekend. Obviously I'll be tweeting throughout the weekend as well, at KGibbsGP on Twitter if you don't already follow me on there. And of course, if you've enjoyed this one, please like and share the video and subscribe if you're new for, of course, more F1 2016 content and, of course, real life F1 2016 season discussion. So that's all for today, folks. Hope you enjoy the Belgian Grand Prix, and I shall speak to you very, very soon indeed. Goodbye.
That looked bad. Are you alright? Let me know you're alright.